Hello everybody, we're back on Meet the Pros. Today we have a number of things to discuss with you. Um, we will start, without going into too much detail, we will start with Luis and his topics, and then we'll move on to Mark to talk about some finance investment topics, and then I'll finish out the program.
Okay. Okay. If you see on the today, I want to talk a little bit. I mean, a lot of people have been using Hangouts, and it's been a lot of talk about the new way Hangout works and stuff. What I want to talk about is how to promote your Hangout event in a little bit different way outside Google Plus. Okay, outside and inside Google Plus. Usually, there is three different um, parts of promoting Hangout, which is the pre-launch promotion, the launch promotion, which is during the during the Hangout, and then you also have the post-launch promotion, which is whatever you do after the Hangout to keep getting views or optimize the video to get better search engine ranking or search engine traffic. So today what I want to talk about is more a little bit about the pre-launch part of the marketing of Hangouts, okay? And two ways that you can do that is by doing a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation, and promoting the PowerPoint presentation. And the second way is by using other avenues that help you generate views for your Hangout or for traffic for your G Plus event or for the page wherever you're gonna be hosting the Hangout. Usually usually we host the Hangout on G Plus automatically, but also you can host it on the same page of the event on the event page inside Google Plus. And a lot of people is another way which is excellent for business is having a set landing page on your website for your Hangout. So that's some of the things that you can do. But by using a different other type of event avenues, you can generate traffic to that special landing page or to that Hangout post or to the video on YouTube. Today I want to talk a little bit more about the first part, which is using a slideshow, a slide presentation. So what you do is if you already know your topic that whatever you're gonna talk or you're gonna be talking about in your Hangout, you create a Hangout presentation, a slideshow. It doesn't have to be nothing big. It just has some of the specifics that you're gonna be talking inside the Hangout. Maybe provide some a little intro or information about each topic that you're gonna be talking in the Hangout. And what you do, you take the presentation, you upload it in sites like SlideShare, Scribd, stuff like that. So what you do when you upload it there, make sure that the upload has the right title for your Hangout for your for the presentation. So the SlideShare will help you promote it inside the community inside his SlideShare, and also any posting in SlideShare, they run really well in search, especially on Google. So you get a lot of traffic in that area. So what you do is people go and see your presentation there. If they like what they see, you also have an invitation there for a link to the main the landing page for the event for your Hangout, which can be the Google Plus event or your landing page inside your website or the YouTube live channel that that YouTube give you, so you can just promote that link and people will see the last video, the last show that is that you've been promoting or that you've been doing, inside Google Plus. The other thing that you can do is with that same slideshow, each one way to make sure that the slideshow is actually better, it works better. Make sure that each slide is independent. I mean, each slide talks about maybe one little topic inside of whatever your main topic is. So that single slide can become also a tool to promote your Hangout. So what you do, you take that slide and upload it onto Flickr. You can upload it on Instagram. You can upload it on Pinterest. You can share it on Twitter. Okay. So what this does is now each slide is uh, it becomes a post to promote your main event. Okay, so if your slideshow has around 10, or maybe it can be from 5 to 10, 20 slides. Now you have you can repurpose those slides and turn it into 20 different posts that be promoting your main event. Okay, and all these posts can be, like I said, can be shared on all these places, including Facebook, of course. Another thing that you can do is you can upload the whole just like you do to a slide share. You can put it on Drive and share it on Google Plus through Drive, and also you can do Facebook doesn't have the easy way to promote or to share PowerPoint presentation. So what you do, you can just make that each slide becomes save it as pictures, okay? And you can create an album in Facebook and share it as an album, and so you still get it looks like a slideshow inside Facebook when you share it as an album. So you still have the potential to, like I say, to get traffic from Facebook by doing that. So, like I said, what you do first, create a slide presentation, a PowerPoint presentation. Make sure that each slide is independent, so it's focused on one single topic or part of the main topic. Make sure that you have a link to your main event on each slide. Okay. Then you take your slideshow, your complete slideshow, you share it on Google Drive and on Google Plus. You share it on Scribd and also in SlideShare. Okay. Second, then you take each slide, turn it into images, and now because each slide is independent, you can share each single image as a post inside Google Plus. You can share it on Twitter. You can share it on Pinterest, Instagram, and even Facebook again. Another thing that you can do with those, that this is more for the launch of your event. While you're doing the event, you can share those pictures inside the event page on Google Plus. Okay, so that's another way to help you promote your event. People can reshare and also interact with those pictures inside the event. So it takes the Hangout process into a little different, another level. And so you get not just engagement, but also traffic from each of those each of those posts that you put in inside the event, each picture, and also what you did before, which is the presentations and the pictures that you post on different websites, like I say Pinterest, Instagram, and all those. But like I say, just make sure that you add a link to your main event on each slide, so that way it doesn't matter which slide they see or which post they see, they still have that link, so if they want to know more, if they want to go and be part of that event, now they have the link to it. Do you have any questions on that, Oleg or Mark?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Luis, on the when you said to use SlideShare, is there any particular specific benefit to using SlideShare versus, for example, creating something using Google presentations, directly from Google Apps?
Oh, no. You can, like I said, you can create it with using Google Apps, to create a presentation. But after you do that, what you should do is download it into your computer and then upload it into, you want to upload it as many places as you can. So
right.
Upload it. You can reshare it right from Google Plus. Right from Google Drive into Google Plus. Okay, so that would be one avenue of promotion. Then you get a SlideShare and Scribd, which is, as you know, SlideShare has a huge community,
Right.
and also they rank really well on search. So it's you get the more exposure you get for your event, the more traffic and the more viewers you're gonna get.
Of course. So you basically use a combination of using the presentation plus you're actually going to do the hangout itself, where you're going to be are you going to be showing them the same presentation at that event too, right?
Exactly,
So you
exactly,
have a combination of both.
exactly. And
Do you also recommend creating a well, I guess the hangout itself, since you're recording it, that's going to be the video. I was going to say, does it make any
exactly.
sense to create a video from the presentation and share that in video form as well, or you think that's too
Definitely,
much?
that's excellent. Yeah, that's another way you can. So you will have now a video inside YouTube promoting the same event with that
Right.
slideshow.
I
Exactly,
guess the
exactly.
only reason that would not make much sense, it would only work is if you create the presentation that can be consumed with the understanding of what it is without any kind of narration. Now, if you just simply take the presentation and simply make a video out of it without any
Exactly.
voiceover, then the content needs to be easy enough to understand for people. Otherwise, you're just looking at a bunch of slides that have these bullet points. You have no idea what it is.
Well, exactly. When I say each slide has to be independent. If, for example, in the case, let's say if I wanted to do a slideshow of what I'm talking right now, I will each slide can be one step at a time. For example, create a presentation to of the topic that you're going to be talking about, you know, using Google Drive or PowerPoint, depending,
Right.
whatever is better for you. And that right there can be one slide, for example. No, the second slide can be now what you do, take that presentation and upload it into a SlideShare, you know,
Right.
something like that,
Yeah.
you know. So
Gotcha.
and then now you have a bunch of little presentations with quick tips or a quick introduction to whatever you're gonna be saying about that little specific subject, you know. And like I said, with a link to your main event,
Yeah. Plus, I wanted
which
to add, in addition to that, that you can now add a Google presentation from Google Apps, regular Google presentation, as part of your Google Plus post. You can actually, you don't have to
exactly,
link to it. You can actually directly embed it as your post on Google
and better,
Plus
absolutely,
and
exactly,
stuff, which
exactly.
makes it also, a very interesting way to add
Definitely,
that.
that's a different type of posting. It works really well. I've seen a lot of people, especially like I think it's Martin. Well, I can remember. I can remember his last name. Always forget.
Shervington, Martin
Sheraton.
Shervington.
That's it.
Yeah.
He does a really good job doing that. You know.
Yeah, and another thing I was going to say, if people are looking for ways to do the presentations, another way to do it would be to actually use Google Plus posts themselves to create a bunch of slides, which are nothing more than a bunch of images.
Images,
And
exactly.
now that Google Plus allows you to easily rearrange these images however you want, before it used to be a hassle a little bit because the images would not be in the order that you want them to be unless you pull them in one at a time. It was a little bit of a hassle. But now you can
Mhm.
easily rearrange them to be in the order you want, and I've seen some people do exceptionally well. A deal where you just go click on the image that basically usually you have a bunch of photos attached to a Google Plus post. This way you can actually have, instead of these photos, you actually have images that have text and they have graphics in PowerPoint type presentation, what you're normally used to,
Exactly.
and you actually see and you click on each one to go to the next one, and you can easily go back and forth, and it just makes it a very compelling also way to present a bunch of information without using any
Exactly.
external software. So in case people want to
Exactly.
do some of that.
Exactly. Yeah, you can create like an album. Make sure when you create an album, make sure that you give the right title to the album so it's relevant to the topic.
Yeah,
Plus, it helps people understand what the album is about. Plus, is help you for search ranking.
exactly.
You know.
And then when you get done with it, let's say you do this, and then you actually do the hangout, and you go through the presentation as part of the hangout, and that gets recorded as hangout on air, so it gets recorded on YouTube. Then the next step would be to potentially do some after hangout uh, promotion by posting it
Oh,
everywhere
definitely,
first
definitely.
of all, and then also you'd want to potentially well, not potential, definitely you want to put some keywords and tags into YouTube itself. So in other words, don't just do a
Definitely.
hangout on air and just leave it as is in your channel. Don't do anything else. You can actually enhance things even more
Exactly.
by putting some additional keywords and things like that. And then obviously, taking a look at comments and responding to people. So there's some work that should be done also, I think, as part of the post hangout and stuff to promote
Oh,
it more.
exactly. But yeah, our next show, we're gonna be talking more about the launch, like promoting the Hangout while the Hangout is going on. So while it's live, it's
Hmm.
different other ways to do that. And like I said, like I was saying before, I give you a little tip on that. Is taking those pictures that you already have from the event, from the slideshow, and while the Hangout is live, you post those pictures on the event page, which creates a different, gives the event a different level of engagement and interaction. And now you're using video plus images, so you're multiplying the power of understanding for people.
Exactly. And of course, everybody needs to remember that when you post pictures, they also get indexed by Google, in various places. So you may come up with image search, which also will,
Exactly.
link people. So there's all this variety of things that if you create content in a positive and meaningful way for what you're trying to promote, then there's different ways how you can place them out there, like, all the different tips that Luis mentioned and all of that. And certainly can, it requires some work, but can be done. And for most businesses, though, it winds up being a game changer on one hand, at the same time a non-event on the other hand. And the reason it's a game changer is because you can really position yourself very well and be visible online, which is what everybody pretty much wants to do in business. Yet the reason it's a non-event for most businesses is because they do not want to or cannot take the time to do such a thing. And so it winds up being a
Yep.
catch-22. They want to do it, but they're not doing it because they can't, because they don't know how, so on and so forth. And that's where you turn around, you basically hire somebody like Luis and his company to be basically do two things for your business. Number one is to guide you in terms of how to do this properly. So we're doing some of this
Excellent.
stuff in these hangouts, but the problem with doing it in these hangouts is we're not doing it specifically for your business, and we're not doing it uh, in extensive amount of time. We're taking just a little bit of time to kind of cover each of these little topics, and it's very useful if you want to spend the time and learn and everything else. It's definitely useful material, but for a lot of people, at least I deal with in the business end, they say, yeah, this is all great. You know how to do all this stuff. I just do not have the time. I mean, I got to run my business, and that's what I'm saying. For that kind of reason, that's where you come to a company like Galarza Marketing. It's web marketing. No, Luis, what's your official company name? Isn't it Galarza Marketing?
Uh, yeah, and well, the official is localmarketingboys.com.
Okay, localmarketingboys.com. So you go to the website and you contact Luis, or you contact him through here, or through Meet the Pros, or through Google Plus. He's easily reachable, and then his company specializes in helping businesses do this correctly. Either guide you how to do it right, or do it for you. Either way, is that accurate,
Excellent.
Luis?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
And
That's
so if people want to
depending,
contact you by phone, what's the best phone to call you on?
you guys can contact me at 978 415. Hold on a second. I don't know. I call myself.
We don't do phones anymore.
Exactly. 1422.
Okay. So one more
Nine
time.
seven. Say that again, Luis. 978.
Yeah, hold on one second. Let me
Just to make sure, just in case, some people want to pick up the phone. I definitely would encourage everybody who's listening to this or recommending this to any of their friends or
I'm sorry. It's
family.
a 978. Yeah, it's 978 425 1422.
Okay. To go ahead and contact Luis online, that's the best way to do it. But if you need to pick up the phone, that's the phone you use, and we'll also post it at the end of the show. With that, unless Luis, you have something else, I was going to turn it over to Mark. And
No, that way we said that on the next shows, I'm just gonna be talking about promoting it while the show the hangout is live, and then in the next one, I'll be talking about post promotion.
okay,
To take that
we kind of covered.
that
Yeah,
hangout to the
excellent,
next level.
excellent. Thank you, Luis.
No problem.
Thank you, Luis. Great presentation.
Thank
I
you,
don't know
Mark.
how I'm going to top this one, but I'm going to talk about slightly different. I know you guys get excited about technology because obviously you understand it way more than I do. So but I pay close attention, and I'm sure something sinks in, and a lot of this stuff will come in handy for my business. That's for sure.
Oh, definitely.
What I wanna discuss today is retirement plans. In our last previous hangout, I mentioned various types of plans available to individuals and small business owners, but it really is a pretty daunting area. A lot of people, not only they're not aware of what's out there, but they just get overwhelmed once they do access the information. So I'm going to try to kind of break it down and simplify it for people. Now, everybody's, of course, probably familiar with your basic retirement accounts, such as IRAs. There's something called traditional IRA or a deductible IRA, and something called Roth IRA. These are the most commonly used plans. They're available practically to anyone, and these plans work very, very simply. You're entitled to contribute in 2013 the sum of $5,500 per year, assuming your salary is at least that much, and obviously higher. So you can contribute into a traditional IRA $5,500 per year. Now, this amount is obviously pre-tax dollars. So the benefit is obvious. You will not pay tax on that $5,500 contribution. By the way, if you're over the age of 50, like Oleg and I, for example, we're entitled to contribute $6,500. So that's called a catch-up provision. They're giving us an extra $1,000, so I guess so that we can have a little more money to spend on fiber products. So figure $5,500 for an average working American, and that amount is deductible in your tax return. So obviously the tax liability is reduced. That's the first advantage of having a plan like this. So every dollar that you put in there, you just saved yourself 25, 30, 35 cents, depending on your tax bracket. The state where I live, New York State, it's a very, very high tax state. Between the federal and the state and the city, average New Yorker probably pays 35, maybe even 40% in income between the three taxes. I know Oleg lives in Washington State, which doesn't have a state tax, but he still pays at least 25% federal. So Oleg is saving 25 cents on the dollar by making a contribution. Somebody like me is probably saving 35 cents on the dollar. And I don't know where Luis falls into that, but maybe somewhere in between. But I imagine Massachusetts is also a pretty high tax state, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
I think it's oh, I can't remember exactly what it is, but I know it's a little up there too.
Yeah, I'm sure it is one of the highest.
Well, it used to be low, but they changed it like I think it was last year. It went up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, I guess Oleg is the luckiest of the three of us. But anyhow, so that's the main advantage. Now, the other type of IRA account is called the Roth IRA account. Now, the Roth IRA has the same limits: $5,500 per year for regular folks, $6,500 per year contribution limit for folks over the age of 50. The difference between the two is that Roth is considered a non-deductible IRA. In other words, it's funded with after-tax dollars. The beauty of the Roth is this. Unlike traditional IRA, where you make your contributions, you take a tax deduction on those contributions grow, tax deferred, you don't pay any taxes throughout the years, but when you cash out a traditional IRA, you will be paying tax on it, whatever your tax bracket is at that time. With the Roth IRA, there is no tax consequence. So in other words, even though you're funding it with after-tax dollars, you're not getting any tax deductions in any given year when you're making your Roth IRA contributions. But on the flip side, when time comes for you to cash out your Roth, 10, 20, 30 years later, okay, it's tax-free to you. So for a lot of individuals, this is a pretty good way to go. Okay, particular individuals, let's say, who might be in a lower tax bracket, for whom these deductions may not be really that important, and who would rather just have the money grow and then cash it out when time comes completely tax-free. So these are the ones that are available to the individual: your basic traditional IRA and your Roth IRA. Okay, as far as small businesses are concerned, that's where the universe expands a little bit. And I mentioned in previous hangouts, small business owners really need to look at this carefully and take advantage of these plans whenever possible, because the limits are so much greater. I'll start with something called Simple IRA. Okay, Simple IRA stands for Savings Investment Match Plan. Now, Simple IRA is the basic plan. It doesn't require any administration. It's virtually no cost to operate. You can set it up with any broker, brokerage house or investment bank. Okay, and both the business owner and his employees can participate in the plan. Okay, and the plan works like this. If you haven't, it's usually better for small businesses with under 100 employees, and it works like this. The contribution limit is $12,000 per year. Okay, so which means as an employee or an employer, you're entitled to go ahead and contribute that $12,000 out of your salary. Obviously, it's also a tax deduction to you, because these are pre-tax dollars that will go to work for you rather. Okay, if you're over the age of 50, the limit is $14,500. Again, that $2,500 your catch-up provision. So regular folks, $12,000. Folks over 50 get to contribute $14,500. And an added bonus. Okay, the employer must make a match. It's not a big match, but typically it's 3% of your salary. So as an employee who contributes $12,000 of his own salary into the plan, an employer will then contribute a little bit extra, which is 3% of the employee's salary. Example: if an employee makes $50,000 a year, hypothetically, the employer must contribute an additional $1,500 a year into the plan. Okay, it's not much, but hey, it's found money. So not only you get your own $12,000 in, you get the employer's additional $1,500 in. Okay, and the money is tax deductible to you, and the employer's contribution is tax deductible to the employer, and everybody's happy. I manage a lot of plans like this for small businesses here among my clients, and it's a great incentive. It's a great morale booster. Okay, because people who work for these small businesses, they do look for things other than just a salary. Obviously, healthcare is a major concern, and retirement plans are also very, very important to them. So I've noticed that this adds to the appeal of of your business, and that's a good way to retain. It's great for employee retention. Okay, so that's your basic plan. It's called Simple IRA. Then it gets a little bit more complicated. There's the next plan is called SEP IRA, and SEP IRA stands for Simplified Employee Pension. Okay, essentially it's a similar plan to your Simple IRA, but the contribution limits are far, far higher, $51,000 per year. So this is ideal for somebody who's self-employed, like Oleg, like Luis. Luis, I presume you don't have employees? You're a one-man show?
No employees. I'm more. Well, I do have employees for the other businesses.
You do.
But on the marketing business, it's more self-contractors.
Okay, I understand. Okay, yeah. So if you're talking about independent contractors, they're not considered full-time employees. You don't have to offer these plans to them. They wouldn't be covered anyway. Okay, so for somebody like you, who's essentially the owner and you're the employee, you're everything. Okay, a SEP IRA would be ideal because it gives you that opportunity to set aside, squirrel away $51,000 a year, pretty significant amount of money. The limitation is this: this amount cannot be more than 25% of your salary. So obviously, for somebody to contribute up to 51,000, that person has to be making 204,000 a year. I mean, God willing, that's what you make, or that hopefully that's, if you don't, hopefully you'll be making that much money. So if you make 204,000 or more, you can contribute $51,000 a year. If you make less than that, you can still contribute 25% of your income. So let's say you make 100,000 a year, you can set aside 25 grand. Okay, you make $50,000 a year. Obviously, you can set aside 25% of that.
But you can't pass 51,000 a year, no?
Right, 51 is the ceiling. Okay,
That's
the maximum. That's the maximum. Okay, so and like I said, in order to take advantage of that full 51,000, your income has to be 204, because 51,000 represents 25%. So that's a wonderful plan, SEP IRA, particularly for one-person operations. Okay, the next plan, and that's probably the one that most people are probably familiar with, because at one point or another they probably work for companies that offer these plans, and it's called 401k plan. Okay, a lot of larger firms offer these 401k plans, and they have a lot of great advantages. Obviously, again, tax deductibility to the employee, so you as an employee can contribute up to $17,500 per year. Okay, there's no salary limitations. As long as you make that $17,500, you can contribute all of it if you choose to. Obviously, if you don't need the money to live on, and if you still live with your mom and you're making $17.5 grand a year, you can put the entire $17.5 grand a year into your 401k plan. But for a self-employed individual, the 401k carries the same contribution limit as the SEP, 51 grand. So there's something called self-employed 401k. Another nice little tool, great plan to have if you're a self-employed individual, no other employees, you're a one-man operation, okay? And you can set it up in such a way that the company, besides you making the contribution from your own salary, the company can also match, even though the matches are voluntary. You know, companies really not forced to make a contribution, but it could, and obviously contribution could be as high as your own. Okay, so if you have a business, for example, and you pay yourself a salary, you can go ahead and set aside 51,000 a year. Okay, and the company can make a match on top of that. Then you can go even higher than that. So for a company's match, it's a deduction to the company. It's a nice little expense write-off. For you, obviously, it's a nice little pre-tax bonus, because that money you contribute into this 401k plan is not taxed, so you're saving, again, 25–30% off the top. Okay, so these are the 5 basic plans for most individuals: traditional IRAs or Roth IRAs. For businesses, it's the simple IRA, the SEP IRA, and the 401k. Contribution limits range anywhere from $5,500 per year up to $51,000 per year, on top of the company matches that I talked about previously. So these plans, available to anyone. There are certain limitations, and as always with the IRS, they don't give you stuff for nothing. When you make any type of pension plan contributions, okay, whether it's an IRA or a 401k or a SEP, they don't want you touching that money before the age of 59.5. Okay, the idea is they let you put the money aside. They let you deduct that as an expense. You don't pay tax on that money. They let you grow that money and invest it, which is something we're going to talk about during the next hangout. That's the second part. One thing is setting the money aside. Another thing is how to then invest it, and we'll discuss it in the later hangouts. So the IRS says, fine, set the money aside, invest it. We're not going to tax it as long as that money stays in this account. just don't touch it prior to the age of 59 and a half. If you do, you will pay the tax and you will pay a 10% penalty. And after 59 and a half, no problem. You can start making withdrawals, okay? Because you're now officially a member of the AARP, and you can start making withdrawals from any of these pension plans without the risk of penalty. You still be paying taxes, other than the Roth IRA, which I mentioned before is non-taxable, okay? And in fact, these guys are pretty clever in our government, and they allow you to start taking the money out after 59 and a half, but after the age of 70 and a half, they want you to take the money out. So even if you don't start taking it out after 59 and a half, they'll force you to start taking it out after you turn 70 and a half. And the idea is very simple. At one point, they want you to start cashing that IRA in, and so that they can get their taxes. Are you with me? So after 70 and a half, there's something called minimum required distribution. They're not going to force you to take the whole thing out, but every year you're going to have to take a chunk of it out. And we'll talk about that in more detail next time as well. Okay? So I think that pretty much concludes my spiel for today. And I'll pass the torch on to Oleg.
Thank you, Mark. I do have a couple of questions before we proceed with my section. As number one, I wanted to ask you, you said you can set up one of these simple IRAs or any other vehicle like that for investments with a broker. Can they do that through you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
okay, so so they can set up the account, like the business can set up one of these retirement accounts for their employees and for themselves through your company.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they want to contact you, obviously they can contact you on Google Plus, and they can also go to the website, which is, do you have your website on the deal there?
www.walnutfund.com.
Yes.
Okay.
And you don't have it on there. But anyway, so that's what it is, www.walnutfund.com. And then finally I was going to ask that you're going to talk about, like, in case, let's say some of us are not going to be living till 70. I'm just speaking for myself, not speaking for anybody else. And if that's the case, I'm assuming you have beneficiaries, you can leave that, the money too. So do they then just simply take the money once they get it if you're not there, and they immediately start paying taxes? I mean, do they have to take part of it? Do they have to take all of it?
Yeah, unfortunately, what will happen is they will inherit that IRA, okay, and they will essentially have to do what you would have had done had you been alive, okay? Mm-hmm. So, for example, if you're over the age of 70 and a half, and your ship comes in, and you get called to Planet Zentron back home, okay, the kids will inherit the IRA, and they will have to start taking these minimum required distributions.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. So but obviously the money gets passed along to them. It's just that every year, a little bit of that account will have to be cashed out.
So the moral of the story is don't die before too early. In other words.
Yeah, that's exactly true. Okay. Don't die before.
I mean, we need to start hitting the gym.
I mean, there's a possibility that IRA could be huge, a multi-million-dollar IRA, in which case the kids might decide to dispatch you before your time on their own.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a topic for a separate hangout.
Exactly.
Okay, so today, speaking of people passing the torch and other people using somebody else's assets, so to speak, I'm going to talk today about security because it's an important topic. And last week I actually had a brush with the problem that it can create, where I got a message from Google saying that one of my Gmail accounts may have been compromised. And before that, about, I don't know, a week or so, something like that, before that, I got a message from Evernote saying that their servers have been breached and some of the passwords and usernames and everything else have been compromised. And they would highly recommend, in fact, they would insist that I change my passwords on just about everything I have dealing with Evernote, which I did. I mean, and they did it, they released a new mobile app for that, and specifically to force the issue, and so it was a big to-do. Unfortunately, at the time I think that's what may have caused, I mean, some of the information I keep in Evernote wound up being compromised to the point of them being able to get into one of my Google accounts. And most of my passwords, by the way, in case people are wondering, no, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but most of my passwords are set up with some sort of personal encryption, if you will, where I know what the description of the password is without actually spelling it out. Okay, so I do a number of different things to my passwords to basically do two things. I mean, there's two ways you can create your passwords. You can create them to be extremely complicated and impossible virtually to remember, having a combination of numbers, letters, special characters. You know, the more of that kind of stuff you have and the longer the password is, the more difficult it is to for somebody to compromise it or to know it. The problem with this approach, and why vast majority of people set up password, you know, if you want to look at statistics, what are the worst passwords are, the worst one is called password. Actually, the word password is because people want to remember what the password is so they can easily get in. The problem is with setting up something that simple is that anybody can guess it, and of course, you know, hackers are much more intelligent than just figuring that out. They figure out much more complicated things. And so for them, it's no big deal to breach your account that way. And no, my password was not password, but unfortunately, because of the Evernote situation, some of the passwords were actually spelled out, and they were able to sneak in apparently. And so what I was saying is that when you create a password, you can either choose the route of taking something that's really complicated and then just simply recording it somewhere so you know what it is so you can get in, or you can use a different approach like I use most of the time, which is where you create a password based on some kind of personal encryption algorithm, whatever it might be, that you know and you know exactly what it is, and then you just give yourself a hint in the program like Evernote to indicate what that password is. But that said, you know, another thing that you can do is, you know, for a lot of people, another problem they have with security is they use the same password everywhere. And so the problem with that approach, even though it may be a decent password, the problem, and it's easily memorable because you're using it everywhere, if it gets breached in one of these locations, that means that all of your other passwords get breached automatically, potentially also. So it's not a great idea, and I certainly would not recommend using the exact same password in all of your different websites and accounts and everything else. So of course that creates a problem where, you know, nobody can remember all this encrypted stuff and all these complicated passwords. I mean, it just winds up being a kind of almost catch-22. You don't want to have fewer passwords, at the same time you don't want to record it anywhere so nobody can steal the list and know exactly how to get in. So for that purpose you can use a program. There's one program, an extension for Chrome and for Firefox, for all the different browsers that you might be using, called LastPass. And what that does, it actually keeps track of your passwords and is enabling you to log in directly into these websites by utilizing this extension. That way you can have all kinds of different complicated passwords. You tell it to LastPass once, and then it remembers it all, and as long as you log into your LastPass with some sort of a good complicated password on anybody's computer, then you're able to go to your websites, your banks, you know, your Google accounts, everything else, and it's able to log in using this LastPass extension. It will feed the proper password into it. So that's one possibility how you can get around things with passwords by using one of these tools. If you happen to forget LastPass's password to get into it, then of course you wind up being in a very dire situation because you cannot get into any of your accounts since they're not recorded anywhere, and the LastPass was the only place you had it. So the reason I bring all these things up is because there is no perfect solution at this point. There are some good solutions, but not perfect solution. I mean, one of the things Google is playing with right now is the ability to have some sort of a wearable on-the-body device, you know, whether it's like a keychain type little device or something like that, that would enable you to use that to give you some sort of password. They're talking about doing some biometric things where you can, you know, swipe your thumbnail on the device and it knows it's you and then it lets you in. So, and there's already keyboards and input devices like that available right now as we speak on some laptops that you can just swipe your finger and it gets you right into your computer. So there's a lot of effort going in to try to solve this problem, but it hasn't been solved completely. The main thing I want to talk to you today about in terms of what Google has done that I have definitely implemented. It has worked really well on my other account that wasn't breached, and now it's also implemented on this account that is breached, that was breached. I mean, so it won't be breached anymore. Is something they call two-step authentication, and what it essentially means. Let me quickly pull up this page from Google. Actually, 1 second here. Let me see. Right there. So as you can see here, uh, Google has their own process of how you can, with fairly easy amount of steps and time, get this set up. And essentially, it provides two levels of authentication, which means that what they will do is, whenever you're trying to get into Google, what it'll do from let's say a new account, and perhaps the best way to do it would be to, well, first I'm going to describe it, then I'm going to show you how it works. So what's happening is they have second layer of security. That's why they call it two-step. As you can see here on the screen, they show your password that you're typing in on the first level to identify yourself when you log in. And then they have this two-step verification process, and then you get to your data. And the two-step verification basically means that once you put in your password and they verify it's a correct password, then they need you to enter a verification code, which is something that changes all the time. It's something that changes, I think they change it like I believe it's every 60 seconds. It might be every 30 seconds even. But basically it's fairly quick. I think it's every 60 seconds. And the idea is if you don't get this code correctly entered, then you can't log in to your account, even if you put in the right password. So if somebody even compromised your password and stole it, they still will not be able to get in unless they have this number. And this number is, this magic number that changes all the time. There's a couple of different ways how you can get to it. The easiest way to do it is when you initially set it up, is to set it up on your phone. And so what happens is whenever you try to log in, as I'll demonstrate in a minute here, what's going to happen is Google will send you this latest code on your cell phone, and then you will have to enter this code and it'll let you in. And so the idea is that every time this happens, you have this security where it's virtually hard to impossible to figure out what this code is. Even if somebody tried to do a forced break and they tried to go through all the numbers possible, as you can see it's a 6-digit code, so they need to go through all these combinations of 6-digit codes in addition to matching that with your password. And of course that's, in the amount of time required, it's just not doable. So it's a very secure yet simple to use process where you're given a number in your phone, you type it in, you're in. To make it even simpler, what Google did was they said, okay, since you're logging into your computer every day and it's your computer and nobody else gets on it, there's really no reason why it should be asking you this on that computer. So they allow you, when you log in, they allow you to enter the number, and then there's a checkbox that says that you trust this particular computer or this particular device. So what this means, it means that going forward, it's not going to ask you for this code anymore if that's what you choose. If you choose to have security every time, then it'll ask you for the code every time. So it's up to you to determine what devices you want to consider safe and what devices you don't. And here, of course, I want to caution everybody that if you're going to really be into security and you're going to get on somebody else's computer, and then just for the sake of expediency, you click that checkbox to say, I'm going to log into it several more times, keep this computer as something that's secure, and it's actually not a secure computer, you're just trying to save some time for that particular day, then don't be surprised if somebody breaches. I mean, the security is only as good as you're doing yourself. You cannot, in other words, this is what happens with viruses also. The reason people get viruses is because they accept them themselves, not because virus somehow sneaks in accidentally. I mean, usually people themselves get some kind of prompt that says whatever it says on the screen, and they click accept, and then of course when they click accept, that's when they get the virus. So it's the same thing with this thing. Just be diligent with how you use these codes. If you don't want to use your phone, or let's say your phone is unavailable, they make it possible to get it set up on multiple. You can set it up on multiple computers, multiple devices, and also on multiple phones. So you can indicate some other phones, and the verification can come through that other phone as a phone call. It doesn't have to be text message. It could be actually a phone call where you indicate that I want to be called on this number. They call you, but it needs to be set up initially. It's not something you can set up at the time when you're doing authentication. And so you go ahead and say, call me on that phone, which is, let's say, your home phone. They call you, you pick up the phone, and then this nice lady from Google tells you, which is automated message, tells you what the code is, and then you can put it in and verify it that way. So it works really well. You got multiple ways how you can handle the authentication. Another way how you can do it is they give you a set of codes, just in case you don't have any phones, you don't have any cell phones, or anything like that. Then you get a verification sheet of numbers. They call backup codes, they call them. And you can also do that. Use one of those numbers temporarily to be able to get in, and then you can change it back to normal approach. But the easiest way and the best way to do this is to use your cell phone. That's just the easiest way how you can do this. And in case you don't have access to the internet, which is another possibility at some point in time, and you need to be able to get in to your account, and because there's no internet, let's say you're using it offline or something, and you need to log in, there's nothing else you can do. What you can do then is you can use a Google mobile app that you can run on your tablet or on your phone called the Google Authenticator, and it will get the codes you need from the application itself that way. So there's a number of different ways how you can get the code you need to be able to get into your computer, but all of these are set up to be secure, so other people cannot easily, or with major effort to actually stealing the code somehow from you, they cannot get into your account. So I definitely would encourage everybody to use two-step verification. It's not difficult to use, as long as you got your phone with you, which what most people do anyway. It winds up being a very simple process to use, and your account will be much, much, much more secure than typically. So with that being the case, I'm going to quickly crank up here a new anonymous session here on Agent X, we'll call it, on Chrome.
So Oleg,
Yes.
this two-step verification that you're talking about, this can be used on any devices, PCs, tablets, smartphones.
Yes, exactly. And but typically you'd use, like I said, you use your cell phone because that's where you will get the text message with the code. Once you're trying to log in on anywhere, it'll send the code to your phone, and then you take the phone number from the phone and you simply paste it into the computer. So as you can see on the screen right now, I'm trying to log into Chrome as a brand new user. I put in my user. Everybody knows that, and which nobody knows. And as you can see right now, I put in this and that, but if I simply click sign in, even though it's my computer, what's going to happen, it's going to come up with this screen and say, give me the code.
Which is being sent to your phone.
Which is being sent to my phone. And did you hear that little noise there?
Right.
That's how quickly you get the code. And so just to
you punch that in and let you
quickly show you here, let me see here. I'll just jump out of the display screen here and just to show you very, very quickly my phone there. And you can see I have all these different verification codes, came at different times, and my code is 194.564. So I'm going to jump back in right here. Oops, the wrong one, sorry. Wrong screen there.
That's actually pretty cool.
No, it's still the wrong screen.
I know.
What's going on here? I'm going to jump to this screen here. Yeah, there we go. And 194.564. I type the verification code in, and then see it says, the checkbox says, don't ask for codes again on this computer. I'm not going to do it this time, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And now I'm actually in, and so now I can jump to Gmail, and it should come up with my account, it should come up with my email, and so I'm logged in successfully, not a problem. Okay? Right. But because I didn't say verification is on, if I log off and try to log back in, it's going to ask me for the code again, which will now be a different code. You can only use the code once, by the way. Even if you do it quickly, you still can only do it once. So basically, that's what I want to talk today about. Is that Google provides a very simple way to get this set up. It's called two-step authentication, and you can go to if you go to google.com/landing/two-step, the word number 2 and the word step, then that's how it can get you with the details of the information, how to set it up and how to get it going. I definitely recommend you set it up for your personal use, for your business use, and definitely stay secure. There's so many breaches going on that it just it will only pay for itself, considering it doesn't cost anything in terms of your time and effort to get something like this set up, so you can be assured that you're secure and nobody can breach your accounts. And essentially, to finish my story with what happened, they wound up getting into my Walmart account using the same username and password that they got. They got into a Walmart page and they ordered an iPad. And of course, anybody that knows me knows that I don't touch Apple products for a number of reasons. So it was kind of funny to get a confirmation from Walmart in my email that says I just ordered a brand new top of the line iPad for like $850.
What?
And so that's how I started the process of unraveling all this stuff, and immediately turned that account into two-step authentication, and won't have any problems starting from that. So anyway, that's my deal for today. If you would like to contact any of us on our specific areas of expertise and experience, please do so on Google Plus. Thank you, Luis and Mark,
Let's
and
go.
the audience. On that, we'll finish up, and unless you guys want to add something else or have any questions, I guess this will do for Meet the Pros number 3.
Very good. Good show, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Good information, Oleg.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll see.
All right, we'll see you next
everybody
time.
soon.
And next time I'll be talking about Google profiles and how you can easily set up multiple employees to jump in and immediately do work without too much worry about logging in and out and setting up screens and things like that. I mean, tabs. It just be a very nice quick setup, and how you can also protect. I'm going to go a little more on security. How you can enable employees in your company to log into Google securely. I have a situation with one client who wanted people to use Google in terms of Gmail and everything else, but he did not want them to do it from their house, which of course creates a problem. They need to be able to log in to be able to use the system and do their jobs, but at the same time, it's not like Google knows when you go home, they will prevent you from doing it. So there is a way to set it up, and that's what I'm going to cover next time.
Oh, that's good.
All right, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Take
Thank you,
care.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care.